Good afternoon. This is Keith Hohotl, ComQuest Services CEO. Here today for ComQuest Services conversation with our community. Looking forward to spending a little bit of time with John Pettit from Community Legal Aid. John has been a friend of our organizations for some time now, and has provided some good encouragement, advice, feedback to clients throughout our organization. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about how that works in the community, some of what the Community Legal Aid does, and just whatever else we end up talking about. So I'd like to introduce John.
Thanks, Keith. Good to be here. I'm glad to help out ComQuest. We're a big supporter of the mission of ComQuest and helping those in recovery, those that have both addiction issues, mental health, and really the marginalized in our society. That's what Legal Aid focuses on, and so we're happy to be here and to talk about what we do and how we can continue our collaboration.
That's awesome. So why don't you share with people a little bit about what Community Legal Aid does, John?
Sure. So we're a nonprofit law firm. Some people get us confused with a public defender. We're not that. We do civil legal work, and we do not charge for our services. We help people that are of a lower income level for eligibility. And some of the civil legal work that we do, we focus a lot on housing. And so people who are in jeopardy of losing their housing either through foreclosure or an eviction, those are a priority for us. We do debt relief, so people who maybe, some people like at ComQuest that go through Wilson Hall or others, if they need debt relief, get back on their feet. The last thing somebody wants, I think, is they get out, they get a job, and their wages are being garnished, so we can help with that. Criminal record sealing, I know that's an important piece to people getting a job, getting back on their feet. So we do help with that, even though that's a criminal law field. It's post-conviction, and so we can help with that. And then we have a family law unit that primarily helps with victims of domestic violence. We do some other things, public benefits, school law for parents that have kids in school that may need IEPs or facing school discipline. We do some of that work. And a number of other areas that affect somebody's economic or housing stability.
Sure. And John, as we've been in this COVID-19 crisis now for 9 weeks or 10 weeks or 100 years, it feels like, what have you kind of seen recently? Has there been anything in particular recently that's been more prevalent of things that have passed through your office?
Yeah, we're certainly concerned about evictions. A lot of the courts around us have been shut down or put a moratorium. Some of them have not, and so it's very difficult for people, if they've lost their job, to be put in a position where now they've got to move and try to find a place, and a lot of landlords aren't showing. And so we've been trying to encourage courts that have not shut down to slow those down, to allow people to get an opportunity to get help. And so we're focusing on those folks. We're working primarily at home, so we're going to court when we need to, but social distancing, and so we have not done the community clinics like we've done in the past with ComQuest at Wilson and Deliverance, but we've been trying to do more things like this on social media so people see us.
And I think those community clinics were extremely helpful for our clients. One of the concerns that they have is what happens to those criminal records? What happens when they're in treatment and they have a place that they were living at and they don't want to lose that place? Just all of the myriad of things that they're afraid to pick up the phone and go and see an attorney, because I think in their mind it's like, I don't have whatever amount of money I need for a retainer and things like that. Or frankly, it takes a lot of courage for people to step up and say, you know what, I got some stuff going on in my life. I need some help. I don't have any way to figure this out myself. But here you guys came along a couple years ago and were like a tremendous resource for our folks so that so that they could get through that. So as some of our guys at Wilson Hall and some of our women at our residential programs have those criminal records that in their mind keep them from being able to get a job. Can you talk a little bit about kind of some of the benefits of using community legal aid as they're out trying to seek employment as well?
Yeah, sure. So criminal records obviously can have a big impact on whether or not somebody can get a job. And so if they're eligible, and the state has made it much more wide open for people to become eligible to get their records sealed. It used to be very strict. It's a little more open now, maybe not as open as some people would like, but they should reach out to us and we can talk to them about when they're eligible, if they're eligible now, if they're not, when they might be. The other thing that we did that I think a lot of maybe private attorneys wouldn't think of doing, people may not be eligible because they owe so many court costs. And so, you were talking about you get a lot of referrals from the court,
Yeah.
a nudge from the judge to come in and seek treatment, and that's a good thing. But often those people have significant what we call court debt. And so they owe a lot of fines, a lot of costs. And if you still owe those, technically you're not eligible to get your record sealed. And so we realized we were turning a lot of people away, and then we thought, you know what? Why don't we just approach the court for these folks and say, court, judge, will you waive or make this community service rather than so we're not in a spot, because it doesn't make sense. Somebody's trying to get a job, they can't pay this debt because they don't have the job, but the debt's keeping them from getting the job.
Right.
So most of our courts have been very good with that, and so those people that get referred to us, we may try to get their court debt canceled first, and then we can help them with the record sealing.
Well, and I think, I've heard, because I've been doing this for a little bit of time, and even some of them, if they owe dollars, they're afraid that if they go and they get a job, their dollars will be, their paychecks will be garnished.
Yeah.
And they won't have anything left. So they, and more than once I've heard somebody say, well, I need to go work for this guy because he'll pay me cash, and I'll do that until I get some of these things paid off, and then I'll go get a paycheck job. And I don't think they're aware that there's other options out there.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge for people. And again, if there's nobody to guide you, nobody to give you feedback, then you don't know.
Yeah.
And you should never be afraid to go try and get work.
Yeah.
If you have those fines.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, if you owe somebody money, they'll probably catch up with you.
Right. And, the nice thing, I think when we've got people in recovery that have come through programs at CompQuest, they're starting to look at, what they're responsible for. And nobody's saying that, that you come out and you got to make everything right, within the next 2 weeks or 2 months even, or sometimes 2 years. But just as you said, if they come to us, hopefully we can give them some advice, guide them, and they may have some legal options to maybe reduce some of that debt legally.
Right. Well, and I almost think that it's, when we get back to being able to do some face-to-face stuff, it's almost better to get some of that stuff out on the front end, and have those conversations so that, as we're putting together treatment plans and doing therapy with them, we have all of the stuff out on the table, so they know not only some of those things that they're going to have an obligation to, but those can be triggers for returning to use.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to happen. We want people to be best prepared, and what you guys have been able to do with our clients has been tremendous. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the domestic relations part of what you guys do. And if you could just share a little bit about those folks who are in residential care, have had substance abuse issues, and kind of how they're impacted by domestic relations things, and even maybe what you've seen from your experience as to how it impacts their recovery.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. A lot of family law questions, and sometimes we take flack because we don't do as much family law as people would like. And I've often said that, we could probably open up shop and do family law only, and that's about all we would do. The great thing about clinics is that things that maybe wouldn't make it into the front door, where they would ultimately get rejected. If we come out to the clinic, we can talk to people, give them advice, and guide them where they might not get otherwise. So child support's a big one. I know a lot of folks who are in treatment, they've got substantial child support. They should seek to modify that right away. Get that drop down. Don't let that number keep building. And, you know, as we know, alcoholism, drug addiction, those things are classified as diseases. And so that should not be characterized as voluntarily not working. And so just like anybody else who would go into treatment for cancer or anything else, if they're in treatment, they should not, you know, they may not be able to work. And not being able to work should be grounds to get that child support reduced while they're trying to do the right thing. And so that's a big piece.
Sure.
I know custody and visitation are big pieces, and we're happy in Stark County. We have a relationship with the Child Support Agency where they worked with us, and so we get a referral for people who are looking to get visitation. And this is the only county in our 8-county region that we cover that we do that, and so we're real proud of that we can help people who have been denied access to their kids. And so some of that, of course, if they've got a domestic violence background, that's going to create a difficulty, and we may not be able to do it in those cases because our flip side, our unit in family law, we do help a lot of victims of domestic abuse. And so if they're in that spot, and certainly a lot of people who develop drug and alcohol because of abuse in the past and current, those are things we're more than happy to help out with, to try to get people out of a dangerous environment so that they can focus on their life and what recovery gives them.
Yep. Well, I appreciate being able to spend some time with you today, John. If there was somebody out there that really didn't kind of know where to turn, they're having substance use issues, or they're early in recovery and they know they have some stuff piling up, what kind of encouragement might you be able to give to them?
Well, I think try to do the next right thing. And so there's information out there. And so go to our webpage, www.communitylegalaid.org. A lot of information on there that's free and it's available. Also, we have a lot of our events listed there. And so we have been out in the community absent COVID-19. So I think we're going to be back out there, but you can look at those events and come to those and get information, and then you can always reach out to us. We do accept applications online too, so you're welcome to reach out.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. John, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate not only you coming today, but also the work that Community Legal Aid does with our ComQuest clients. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
This is Keith Hohotl from ComQuest Services, and thanks for joining us for our ComQuest discussion today. Have a great day.